Oh yeah. I think I've used this dress about 100 times in different movies. It's fantastic. An original 1950s. Beautiful. I think my magic hour is the morning. I think that's the best time for me, early in the morning, without distractions, without everybody asking questions, and it's kind of when I get my best ideas, is first thing in the morning. And in production, sometimes that's 4 a.m., so it's very early in the morning. I remember we found some cloth in here for Tilda Swinton in Hail Caesar. Oh, and this is from Cowboys and Aliens, which then became stock for Western, and then I used it for Liam Neeson on The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. That's a perfect first man tie. I'm sure we used this. In fact, I know we did. Gangster Squad. The first time I ever worked with Ryan was on Gangster Squad. Probably Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling I've dressed the most. I've worked with Fran McDormand a bunch too, right? She did Fargo and she was in Hail Caesar. She's in Burn After Reading. Tom Hanks, Jeff Bridges, and Josh Brolin. George I've worked with 3 times, I think, maybe 4. I love all of those people. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. When I was about 7 years old, my parents opened up a clothing store. It was called The Bottom Half. There's a story that my mom told, and I don't remember the story, but she said one time when I was about 7 or 8, that I'd come from doing whatever homework I was doing. I was sitting in the back and someone had come in, a mother had come in with her son and she was buying clothes for her son. My mom said to her, "Oh, and how about something for yourself?" And the mom said, "No, there's nothing in here. I'm too old for anything in this store." And I said, like my 7-year-old said, "I know what would work on you." And my mom said that she turned around and she was like, "Oh my God." Yeah, and I got off the stool and I went to whatever it was that I thought would be right for this woman and I handed it to her and she tried it on and she bought it. And so my mother was the first one to point out actually that you've been designing for people since you were a little kid. That's me, the pigtails. That was a polyester outfit. Great. My first job in the film business was as a parking PA in New York City, which is the worst job in the universe. Like you have to tell New Yorkers that they can't park their car there because they're going to be a film truck there the next day, and it's not a good job. But I did that, and then a friend of mine got me a job as a PA on Born on the 4th of July. And the first day of my job there, Judy Ruskin had a big gigantic pile of clothes on the floor, and she and her assistant were going to go and pull more clothes, and she said, "Divide these into 50s, 60s, and 70s and put them in bags. They're going to go to the dry cleaner." And I was like, okay. And so I found myself knowing the difference between 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s just by, that's what I used to wear. It was a great experience. I remember I had the time of my life and I knew right then that I was like, oh, I'll be a costume designer. Okay, here I come. Ready? The very first thing that I do when I do a film is I start with research. So I spent a lot of time in here for Buster Scruggs because there's some books they have in here that I love, and what I used as my springboard for the Sioux and for the Comanche were paintings done by painters. And I found these painters in these books up here. There was a painter named Caitlin that I found in one of these books, and he went out, he was like fascinated by the Sioux. And it's his painting style, and that I was like, this is where I'm getting these ideas from. And then I got an entire book by Caitlin that I own in my own library, but I don't think it's here. But I remember, oh wait, here he is. Look, okay. So in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, like this kind of a tail coming out of his breechcloth, that's what I got inspired by, was his paintings. All right, where are the space books? These are all good. Look at this one. This one is, oh yeah, I remember this book. Oh, and see, here's our flight suit. This is a flight suit that we sort of wanted to make sure we built accurately because we had scenes in the movie where Ryan and some of the other original 9 were wearing.
These are extraordinary times. And we face an extraordinary challenge.
Did Damon hire you because you had done Interstellar or because you had already worked together on La La Land?
I think he hired, yeah, because of La La Land. But maybe he felt confident that I could do it because I had done space before. I mean, so maybe, yeah, maybe both reasons.
I know who the guy is.
The guy?
The guy.
By the time I worked with Brad, it was Burn After Reading. I had worked, that was maybe my 11th movie with the Coen brothers. And so even though I've done 14 movies with the Coen brothers, I always approach every actor that way. I'm never like, well, this is what Joel and Ethan wants. That's not what I do. I explain to them why we're doing what we're doing. But I remember Brad, poor Brad, his makeup artist is a good friend of mine, and she was laughing because she was like, Brad has never worn shorts in a movie. He doesn't like his legs. And that was like the first thing. I was like, I think Chad needs to wear shorts. And he was like, just looked at me like, God, no, please don't make me put those on. And he ended up like wearing them, and he got into it. And he, I had to turn him into, like Brad Pitt, who's one of the most handsome actors on the planet. I had to make him look a little bit like a dork. And so shorts was the way to go.
I got his number. I got his number.
Do you think, in your opinion, that someone can get into character just by putting on the right clothes for that character?
Yeah, I think so. I saw it happen once. Like John Turturro, I'll never forget it. John Turturro, we were doing Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And he was on another film, and he hadn't thought about Oh Brother, Where Art Thou at all, just a little bit. He had read the script. And we built what I wanted him to wear ahead of time, because I knew his sizes from Big Lebowski. And so we go to his fitting with my character board, my sketch. John saw the board, and he put on his costume, and he started walking up and down his trailer. And the walk that he has for his character in Oh Brother happened right in front of my eyes. He was like, I have to wear these pants. And then the picture that on the character board, I had this picture of this guy that was smiling with the missing tooth. He was like, I want the missing tooth too.
Since we've been following your lead, we got nothing but trouble. I got this close to being strung up and consumed in a fire, and whipped no end, and sunstroke, and soggy.
And then, of course, once he came to the film, he had time to prep, and he worked on his accent, and et cetera, et cetera. But that fitting sort of, I always like to think like it gave him the idea of Pete. It gave him his walk, it gave him his talk, it gave him his look. So you get goosebumps. Like, I have goosebumps right now, but I won't show you that. Anyway, that's the best part of my job, that part right there.
Mama's gone away and your daddy's gonna stay. Didn't leave nobody but the baby.
When I was a kid, my mother was a huge fan of films, and she used to take me to every film that was out in the theaters, and we used to watch every old film. She was full of life, and she was a tour de force, my mom, and she was awesome. And she always told me, she's like, you can be anything you want to be. She died in 2012. That was very sad. Like, it's really hard for me. I have to sort of compartmentalize it to not start crying while talking about it. So, but the reason why she kept on saying, do anything that you want to do, was when she was a kid, she told her dad, who was an Italian an immigrant, and she said, I want to be a textile designer. Que cosa? That's what he said. Like, what is that? A textile designer. You can be a nurse or you can be a teacher, and that's it. And so I think like that was her experience. So what she was telling me was like, you can do anything you want to do. That was why she was doing that, and it was a very helpful thing for me. I mean, my parents made me who I am, for sure. But
you said your mom said she wanted to be a textile designer, so this is,
yeah, there you go.
there you go. I mean,
Yeah, I would design my own textile in La La Land
you did.
with the yellow dress. Yeah.